Hello, this is the Georgia Freeman and anti-status atheist here to discuss my argument that there are no rights but property rights. Please check out my website at www.georgiafreeman.net, GAFREEMAN.net. For background, please check out my other videos listed below, and let's begin as always with definitions. A right is defined as a legal entitlement to have or to obtain something or to act in a certain way. By Black's Law Dictionary, it is defined as that which is proper under law, morality, or ethics, something that is due to a person by just claim, legal guarantee, or moral principle, or a power, privilege, or immunity secured to a person by law. Interest. Black's Law Dictionary defines this, and my specific area of interest is as a legal share in something, all or part of a legal or equitable claim to or right in property. Private property. This concept is defined as a noun, and it is land or belongings owned by a person or group and kept for their exclusive use. The self. A noun, the person that someone normally or truly is, a particular part of your personality or character that is shown in a particular situation, the personality or character that makes a person different from other people, the combination of emotions, thoughts, feelings, etc. that make a person different from others. To own is a verb. To have something as property, to legally possess something. A transitive verb, or more fully defined, is to have or to hold as property, to possess, to have power or mastery over. Property is defined as a quality or trait belonging and especially peculiar to an individual or thing, and the exclusive right to possess, enjoy, and dispose of a thing, ownership. Private, for the use of a single person or group belonging to one person or group, not public. Intended for or restricted to the use of a particular person, group, or class, belonging to or concerning an individual person, company, or interest. Voluntarism is used to mean the use of or reliance on voluntary action to achieve an end. In this context, the word voluntary action means action based on free choice, which in turn means action which is performed free from certain constraints. In this sense, and in this discussion, this is apolitical and means that all interactions must be consensual to be moral. When one is thinking about rights, one must ask oneself, what is being considered? What does a right mean to me? Where do I get the idea of rights? Americans typically get their ideas from the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. The Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." The Bill of Rights is a series of amendments that prohibits government from theoretically interfering with the people. The series of amendments are specifically amendments to the Constitution, which is considered the law of the land. Therefore, these so-called rights are legal. Most Americans tend to think that these rights are protected by law, but in reality and in practical use, now they are granted by law. We know this by virtue of how the court has ruled recently. The state takes its supposed duty to protect the people from harm, meaning aggression or violence, to the state having an interest in preserving life. When the state is involved, interest is defined as a legal share in something or a legal claim to or right in property. If the state has a legal share or right to its property and it considers our lives its interests, then what rights does one actually have? In the eyes of the state, abortion is legal, but suicide is illegal, and assisted suicide is also illegal. If abortion is legal, then this is simply because the state does not recognize the unborn as having life, and therefore the only interest the state has is in that of the mother. If that same mother decided to try and kill herself, then the state would feel it had an interest in and prohibits this behavior and action. Why do I point this out? I assert that the most fundamental and obvious true ownership is the owning of one's own body. If one considers the self, then one can realize that each individual being has only one consciousness, and that brings about a sense of self. This consciousness and sense of self arise from somewhere within one's physical body. You consist of a consciousness that is attached to a physical body. This physical body is the only thing that your self completely owns. You have the sole ability to control this body, to decide whether or not to ingest narcotics, join an army, get a piercing, get a tattoo, and so on. This sole ability to control your body is called ownership, and this body is your property. This sole ability to control your body is called ownership, and this body is your property. This means that you have the right to and interest in your own body. Is this provable? Yes, in the fact that no one else can use or possess your body even if you want them to. No one can grip for you, no one can breathe for you, and no one can use the restroom for you. Only you can have your body perform or stop performing any of these actions. No one can use your mouth to speak or to eat or to talk or to kiss. No one can use your ears to hear or to listen. This sets the boundaries of your rights. Your rights are private property rights and nothing else. If your body is your private property, meaning that you have the sole use of it and no one else does, then you have the right or ability to use it in any way that you choose. You decide how to use your mouth, your hands, your feet. You can say anything and whatever you want, eat anything you want, smoke whatever you want, drink whatever you want. It is your body and you may use it however you choose. The only limitation to using one's own body in any way that one wants is responsibility and acceptance of consequences. If I have children, then it is my responsibility to treat my body as well as possible so that I can be the best parent possible. If I insult someone by using language that is insulting, like nigger or fag, then I must live with the consequences that come out of that. All violations of rights outside of law are violations of property rights. Violations of property rights are simply aggression. Ayn Rand said, "So long as men desire to live together, no man may initiate. Do you hear me? No man may start the use of physical force against others." Rothbard said, "The libertarian creed rests upon one central axiom, that no man or group of men may aggress against the person or property of anyone else. This may be called the non-aggression axiom. Aggression is defined as the initiation or the use or threat of physical violence against the person or property of anyone else. Aggression, therefore, is synonymous with invasion." The voluntary liberty principle maintains that the only way to violate rights is by initiating force or committing aggression. In the case of the body, it is clear that aggression is the invasion of the borders of one's body, legally termed as battery, or more generally using the body of another without his or her consent. Interpersonal aggression assumes property rights in bodies and that each person is the owner of his own body. Statist political philosophies have a different view. In a statist society, yes, the U.S., each person has some limited rights in his own body, but not complete or exclusive rights. Society, or the state, purporting to be society's agent, has certain rights called interest in the legal sense in each citizen's body. This partial slavery is implicit in state actions and laws such as taxation, licensing, and drug prohibitions. The voluntarist asserts that each person is the full owner of his body. He has the right to control his body to decide whether or not he ingests narcotics, joins an army, and so on. Those statists who endorse state prohibitions, however, necessarily maintain that the state or society is at least a partial owner of the body of those subject to the laws, or even in some cases a complete owner in the case of conscriptees or non-aggressor criminals incarcerated for life. Voluntarists believe in self-ownership. Statists of all stripes advocate some form of slavery. I, as a voluntarist, want a philosophy that consistently favors social rules aimed at promoting peace, prosperity, and cooperation, recognizing that the only rules that satisfy the civilized norms are the self-ownership and non-aggression principle applied as consistently as possible. As I have asserted, all rights are derived from property rights, and a violation of rights is only through aggression or violence against another. Civilized man may be defined as he who seeks justification for the use of interpersonal violence. When the inevitable need to engage in violence arises for defense of life or property, civilized man seeks justification. Naturally, since the justification seeking is done by people who are inclined to reason and peace, what they seek are rules that are fair, potentially acceptable to all, grounded in the nature of things, and universalizable, and which permit conflict-free use of resources. In the end, you have no rights but property rights, and the best way to achieve peace is to respect each other's rights.